Oh my gosh, internet. Hi, everybody. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and I'm really looking forward to guiding you through today's yin yoga practice where we're just focusing on increasing our happiness factor. I really believe that when our spine feels good, we feel good. 100% happy spine, happy back, happy life. Because when you're able to move and feel flexible, anything's possible. So today's class is going to focus a lot on creating some opening in the upper back, truly finding some length through the spine, releasing through the lower back, the hips, and the hamstrings. Because I'm always telling you how we store our emotions in the hips. So we're going to just let go of anything that we don't need so we can move into this weekend feeling great, y'all. Highly recommend that you have at least one block for today's class. I have two blocks over here because better to be safe than sorry. And you may want to have a strap for like happy baby, which is going to be coming your way. Otherwise, you can always grab hold of your pants or just hold on to the back of your legs if you need a little assistance. Get ready to feel as great as possible. I'm going to check and make sure everything is streaming properly. And then we're going to get right into it, starting with Savasana. So if you're here right now, make your way down to your mat and find a relaxed corpse pose. Just laying down on your back is a great way to begin to come into your breath, to melt into your mat and be supported by it. Let's party. All right. Make sure you're wearing something nice, comfortable, loose that you can move around in, that you won't be endlessly fidgeting with. Get any fidgeting with your costume in now, and then just let it be. All right. So laying down on our backs, have that block nearby because our supported glute bridge is coming up in just a couple of postures. All right, if your lower back does happen to hurt today and lying down flat is not for you, then I want you to bend your knees, find some support through grounding your feet, maybe a little tilt of your pelvis. And you can always even tense your knees together to create a little bit more relaxation and release. However, if your lower back is feeling good, I encourage you to explore extending those legs all the way out and just melting into your mat. Start a scan of your body from head to toe. Just notice where you might be feeling any tension, any clenching, any crunchiness today because every day is different, but we do tend to store our feelings in our bodies in the same places. So for me, that is a lot of wearing my shoulders up at my earlobes like earrings, and also taking a lot of squeezing through the glutes when I'm trying to stay relaxed. So when I do my scans of the body, those are the two places I need to tune into the most. But maybe you know that you more so express your tension and stress through scrunching your face, maybe through making a fist, maybe through clenching your abs or squeezing your toes. So wherever it is that you find the contraction when you're feeling sort of meh, that's the spot that you're looking to use your exhale to release. Focus on the quality of your breath here. Long, slow, deep inhales, and do your best to make your exhale a little bit longer than your inhale. That's automatically going to help to relax through your nervous system, to slow down your heart rate. Feel free to close your eyes here and do the best to create the shapes as I describe them. I think it's really funny. I was reading something earlier this week where someone else said, "How come my yin yoga teacher always talks about creating shapes as opposed to the asanas or postures that we are in?" And I do think yin is like so relaxed. It's like the It's like the grandparent as opposed to the parent of yoga. You know, the grandparent's going to spoil you a little bit. It's going to let you get away with a couple more things that you might have been able to get away under that parental supervision. And that is 100% what yin yoga is about, because instead of finding the yang posture where our muscles are really engaged, we're going for finding as much release as we can. So, not muscling through something, finding what feels good. That's like a grandparent thing, I think. All right. So our first active posture of the day beyond this savasana is going to be wind removing pose, and we're going to go straight from wind removing into a little bit of a spine twist. So if your feet were separated, go ahead and walk your feet back together so that your heels are close to each other, and we're going to draw the right leg up. Pull your right leg up and bring it out to the side so we're avoiding our rib cage, and then go ahead, interlace all 10 fingers on top of your shin. If your left shoulder rolled off of the mat, go ahead, relax and release that left shoulder down and start to pull your thigh up towards your shoulder. So yes, my thigh is pressing into my rib cage, but first we created a little bit of space. Make sure that your left calf muscle is touching the floor, and if not, flex your toes back towards your face and begin to pull. So you're pulling on your shin as you're pressing your shin into your hands palms, creating a little equal opposite contraction. So yes, I know I just told you everything was going to relax and then we engaged it all. We're just looking to clear the digestive system a little bit, and that's why we're starting with the right side, the ascending colon. Let's just hang out here for one more minute in this little pinch and squeeze of the lower right abdomen. Do your best to have those fingertips flat against your shin, but interlaced all the way up to the webbing in that nice, tight, anti-arthritic grip. Make sure you didn't come into such a deep stretch that you're limiting your breath by hanging out in the posture. Let your breath be the guide and depth come second. And also, throughout class, find a place where you can create and hold the noticeable stretch. So we're not going to be coming in and out of the stretches. We're just going to be in there at whatever depth works for you today. Because remember, every day is different, and we're just being kind and good to ourselves and appreciating what our bodies can do today. Okay, we're going to turn this into a spine twist from right here. So I'm going to take the left hand a little to the outside of the right leg. Right arm extends to the side and rolling over onto the left hip. I'm going to bring my block to the party and place my block on the inside of the right thigh to be a little supported here so I can relax a little bit more in the twist than I know that I would have if my leg was just floating in the air. You can do whatever works for you. Maybe you have a pillow or a towel nearby. You're going to place that pillow underneath or even between your legs to help as you work to stack your hips on top of each other in this gentle first spine twist of the day. Want to bring your neck to the party? Then turn and look over your opposite shoulder. We're spending about 1 minute left right here. How many slow, relaxed, intentional breaths does it take you to get to the end of this minute? That is your minute. Take your time, carefully roll onto your back one more time, and then extend your right leg out to meet with the left. Maybe even press into your heels, reground your lower back onto the floor, and let's start our left leg in wind removing pose. So draw your left leg up, pull it out towards the side, interlace all 10 fingers up to the webbing, nice and flat on your shin, and then roll that right shoulder to your back. Start to pull, pulling your knee towards your chest and shoulder, and start to push, pushing your shin into your hand hub. Working to create that equal opposite contraction. If your right calf muscle is not touching the floor, flex those right toes back towards your face. This time you might feel the pinching compression sensation in your lower left abdomen as we're now working our descending colon. That's why it's so important to start with the right side, ascending colon into the descending colon, and then we're going to finish up with a little love for the transverse colon. You've got just about one more minute here. And again, the point of this posture is to help you remove some of the wind in your belly. So this is also a great one to do after you've had a heavy meal to really help you relax. While I'm still pulling with my hands palms into my shin, I'm also working to create as much relaxation through the upper body shoulders as I can, because as established, that's a spot where I really hold and harbor my tension. You've got a couple breaths left here, and then we're going to come into our 2 minutes of spine twist on the opposite side. So slowly start to bring your right hand to the outside of the left leg. Maybe you transfer your block to the other side to be supportive. Extend the left arm out towards the side and then roll over onto your right hip, coming into your spine twist on the opposite side. Find that twist that you can hold, relaxing your breath. You got a little more than a minute to go, and I'll let you know when that last minute is about to start so you can check back in with yourself because I know it helps me stay present, stay focused, and relax a little bit more if I know how much time is left. And that's one of my favorite parts about counting the length of your breath or seeing how many breaths it takes to get to a minute, with the goal being to slow your breath down so that eventually it takes less and less. I think I landed on the number 3 because I love that Tootsie Roll commercial. How many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Roll Pop? 1, 2, 3. And that's how many breaths it takes me to get to the end of a minute. Oh my gosh, we're started. That minute started. I'll start it again right now. All right, last minute here in this spine twist through wind removing pose. Remember, if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. So if you find them darting around the room, close your eyes, melt into your practice. And otherwise, if you keep them open, find one spot for a soft, gentle gaze. All right, so that is the end of our honest minute. So carefully roll onto your back once more. Make sure that prop is nearby. Bring your knees in towards your chest one last time. And this time, just hanging out with knees to chest. Yeah, knees to chest pose. We got just about 2 minutes right here. So this one is working the transverse colon, especially if you bring those knees together side by side. Keep your feet relaxed side by side. Having those knees together is going to apply a little bit more pressure into the lower belly. Keep the back of your head flat on the mat as much as you can, maybe even giving yourself like double, triple chins here with that chin tucked towards your chest, a little bit of a throat choked sensation. Also helps to just stimulate the metabolism along with the digestive system. Final minute right here. Carefully relax and release the soles of the feet down towards the floor. Next up, we're going to get a nice little stretch in the low back with our supported glute bridge. So press up onto the feet, lift that lower back up off the mat, and carefully slide your block or your rolled up towel or your prop, whatever you've got under your low back. So glutes are gently hanging off of your prop, starting to feel a nice little stretch into that belly. So maybe anything that you loosened up or moved during that wind removing spine twist is just saying, oh, hey, I'm ready to leave the body and go for it if you would like. We're going to spend one more minute right here in our supported glute bridge, and then we're going to get off of our backs. During this one, I really like to press that lower back into the prop as much as I can to enhance that stretch of the lower belly. You can do whatever feels right with your arms. Remember though, we're working towards that stillness, so creating as much stillness as you can. And I know that the stillness through this class is not always easy, especially for beginners, so be kind to yourself. Just creating the intention and showing up is so much of the practice. I've shown up to yoga classes where, man, for the full 90 minutes of Bikram, maybe I just laid on the floor the whole time. Because literally showing up is half the battle. All right, we're gonna press into the soles of our feet once more, lift up into a glute bridge, remove that prop from underneath. Take your time and roll over. We're going to come into tabletop for a little bit of cat cow. You've been doing such a great job with the stillness for that first third of class. Now, find what feels good. Find the stretch that's right for you. 1 minute of cat cow right here. And then we're gonna start to stretch out that upper back in puppy pose. Highly recommend bringing that block along in just a moment. For puppy pose, I'm gonna stretch that upper back. Then we're gonna move into a nice little stretch for that lower back. All right, so puppy pose is similar to child's pose. However, in child's pose, we intentionally send our glutes back towards our heels. In puppy pose, we're doing our best to keep our hips on top of our knees, walking those hands forward. If your hands are close together, it can feel a little challenging or tight. Explore opening your hands really wide here and bringing your chest down towards the floor. I know I'm feeling pretty tight today. My chest is not making it down towards the floor. So I'm going to bring my block to the party and bring my chest to the block. Then I'm even going to bend my arms, just finding a way to relax. Think about yourself as being one of those dogs that's just literally, they just got up and they're stretching, their hips are staying nice and high. This is one of our first slightly longer holds of the day. We've got a total of 3 minutes here in this puppy pose. We already got started, so let's think 2 more minutes from right now, just doing your best. Remember, you don't have to come any deeper. You just want to find that noticeable stretch that you can keep. If at any point during the stretch you move from a noticeable stretch to true pain or discomfort, readjust. Readjust, find what does work for you today. And if you're not feeling any sort of a stretch at all, readjust as well to actually actively create a stretch because you got a little bit more than a minute to go. Remember, let your breath be your guide. So make sure that you didn't come into something so deep that you have to hold your breath or create extra tension to stay in the stretch. We're focusing mostly on what's happening with that upper back between the shoulders. So notice if you brought that tension back into your toes or your calves, your quads or your hamstrings to help you try and stay here and relax and release that lower body. Less than a minute to go. You're amazing. It's normal if you're feeling any sort of shaking or trembling. These long holds are helping us to create opening and awareness, new connections. So just do your best to stick with it. Focus your eyes or close them. Just about 2 normal people length breaths left. When you finish that second exhale, we're going to carefully pull ourselves forward so you can move your prop out of the way and come to Sphinx Pose. So bringing your forearms down to the mat. Once again, just like in puppy pose, if it's too much for you, you can always open those arms a little bit wider here. If it's still too much and your lower back is really saying no, you can release all the way down into alligator. However, if Sphinx Pose is not enough of a stretch for you into your lower back, I'm going to give you an option as we come into our last minute here to press into your hands palms and straighten your arms and come into seal pose. So focus on the stretch that's happening right at the back of the belly button area, close to the waist. Relax and release those shoulders as much as you can, your glutes, your toes. And if you want to press yourself up while still keeping that belly button area close towards the mat to come into your version of seal. This is our last minute right here. Last big semi-active, challenging stretch into that low back before we're going to send it all the way back in just about 30 seconds for a really relaxing, long child's pose. Ooh, my deep breath there just helped to create extra space. I heard that low back crack and release that tension. And I tell you what, everyone, it felt really good. But I noticed I brought the tension back to my glutes. So I'm going to release through the glutes as much as I can on the exhale. Now let's go ahead and press ourselves all the way back into child's pose. I'm going to release into Sphinx first. Bring my hands, palms closer to the chest. Lift up through tabletop. And with knees open nice and wide, walk those hips back into child's pose. We're going to spend a full 4 minutes in this child's pose. They've already started. I like to place a forehead under my block. A block under my forehead. I thought that sounded weird for this posture because with my head all the way down on the floor for an extended child's pose, personally, I really notice a lot of pressure start to build in the sinuses. So just a thought, if you feel a little too much pressure through your head space, keeping a slight little lift here might help. We got 3 minutes left. Just find what feels right for your arms today. Maybe you still have them stretched all the way out, getting a little bit of love into the shoulders. Maybe you're taking a little rotation through the hands, palms facing up towards the ceiling. Maybe you have a generous bend in your elbows, or maybe you've even sent your hands all the way back towards your heels. However, you're going to keep your upper body, find it right now. Commit to holding throughout this stretch. Scan your body from head to toe. Ask yourself, how can you relax even more? So you might notice that there has been a lot of compression of the abdomen throughout today's class. So yes, we're focusing on the happy spine, the relaxed and released low back, but it might not be cool to really talk about. Um, but being regular and eliminating from your body also is going to help that back continue to feel good. So finding the compression, the stimulation of the colon, um, the digestive system itself helps, and also making sure that you are properly hydrated is another great way to encourage a flushing easily without strain of your system. Take these last couple of breaths here in this child's pose and really notice the back of your rib cage expanding on your inhale and contracting on that exhale. You're awesome. All right, press yourself back up through tabletop. Maybe give yourself a cat or cow here. Next, we're just gonna turn over onto our glutes. Spread your legs as wide as it feels comfortable for you today for some dragonfly. So starting to work a little bit more into those hips and your inner outer thighs. Begin this dragonfly with your chest lifted. You can allow your toes to do whatever feels right for you. So slightly more passive is going to be toes pointing away from you. Slightly more active, it's going to be toes flexing towards your face. Hinge forward from the hips, not the waist, to find an extra stretch towards those inner thighs and hips if it feels good. Once you found that nice long low back, you can even release yourself closer down towards the mat. We're going to spend a total of 3 minutes in this dragonfly now that we're in it, which really means 2.5 more minutes, so don't get too scared. But we are starting to experiment with these slightly longer holds in class. And we're just keeping today's dragonfly right through to the center. Scan your body head to toe. Notice if you're bringing Any tension back into those spaces where you like to hold it. I know my goal here is to actively find a little length through the spine as opposed to letting those shoulders creep up to my ears like they want to. And the upper body is just here to support the stretch through the lower body. So let this stretch through the hips, through the inner thighs, maybe even feeling it through the hamstrings or calves, just depending on how your body feels today. But let that be what you focus on. It doesn't matter how close you get towards the floor. Even if you didn't hinge forward, you're still going to feel this through the legs and the hips. One minute left. The next posture we have coming up is going to be a squat. If you know that squatting, even with a prop, is not for you, I encourage you to just stay down here on the floor and you're going to do a stump instead of a squat. I'm going to show you what that stump looks like right now. So lifting yourself up. If you're going for stump, you're just going to bring those heels as close to the center line as you can, bringing your belly towards your thighs and lifting through the chest, holding on to your legs either with your hands palms to help keep that back engaged and your chest lifted, or maybe you use the crook of your elbows to find this nice lift. Otherwise, we're going to lift ourselves up, come into a squat. And I'm going to use my prop to help me in the squat to have something that I can actually sit down on. And it's up to you how deep you want to go. I'm going to be kind to my body today. It's yin. And I'm sitting on the highest part of the block. But obviously, as you improve your squat and the openness of your hips, the lower that you'll be able to sit in the future, until eventually you don't need the block at all to just sit with your heels flat in a nice squat. We got 1 minute left. And then if you didn't know what's coming next, because we're on to my two favorite postures, the squat and the dangle. So opening those hips. Next, we're going to stretch into those hamstrings. Enjoy as flat of a back as you can create here. So try not to once again round from the waist or round through the shoulders. Nice and lifted and long and proud, as you should be because you showed up here today. And that is such a big start. I do have my feet turned out slightly at about a 45-degree angle that helps to like stay in this gentle squat position as opposed to heels directly behind your toes. Let's take one more last big breath. And on your next exhale, we're going to lift up off of the block and send our glutes up towards the ceiling. If the floor feels really far away, you can always place your hands on a prop. You can keep your feet nice and wide if you would like, or you can heel toe your feet a little bit closer together. Relax your head down towards the floor. Let your head hang heavy and eliminate the wrinkles from your neck. So we're not looking down towards our fingers. Our eyes are gently gazing towards the floor behind you. Notice if you're really creating any tension still through that upper back. Can you relax your chest a little closer towards the mat? Keep those legs as straight as feels good for you. If you need to take a slight bend because your hamstrings require that today, that's all right as well. I know there's lots of blood rushing towards your head again, but you're worth it. This is our last inverted stretch in this direction. Then we're gonna switch it up, lay down on our back, get some happy baby into the party. So a little bit more hip opening, encouraging the lymph, this next posture to flow from the legs back towards the heart. Hopefully, as we're approaching the end of class, it's easier for you to create these long periods of stillness. We've got just a couple postures left before our final savasana. Literally 2 postures to go after this before final savasana. Check back in, scan your body, head to toe. Create that relaxation through your upper back, your shoulders, your eyebrows, your jaw. Remember, you don't have to go any deeper, but as you do relax your body, you might find that that just naturally happens. And relaxing nice and long here down towards the floor is a great way to decompress your spine as well. All right, so let's carefully make our way back down to the mat. Take your time, move with intention. We're going to roll onto our backs. Once more, you might want to have your strap nearby for Happy Baby, which is coming up next. Option to challenge your abs on the way down here by planting those feet firmly on the floor and lowering yourself with control in this delightful eccentric movement. Such a great opportunity to create strength, one vertebrae at a time. And once you get there, we're going to draw those knees back in towards our chest, nice and wide, and then send the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling. Perhaps you grab hold behind your thighs. Perhaps you grab hold of your ankles. Maybe you can even reach and grab hold of your feet. Let's be the happiest baby that you can be. So if you want to gently rock side to side and create a little bit of motion and lower back massage here for our last two postures do have the option for a little bit of movement. And yes, we're basically doing a squat again, but this time without having to worry about tipping forwards or backwards. Taking a lot of the gravity out of the gravity's still here, the balance out of the squat. Big time opening though of those hips still. We're going to spend 1 more minute right here. How much of your shoulders and upper back can you relax towards the mat while still being the happiest of babies that you can be? All right, let's bring our feet together. Then bring your knees close towards each other, giving yourself some gentle circles with your knees in one direction. Keep it up in the same direction for just a couple more rotations. It's Free Massage Friday. Awesome. Let's change direction of those knee circles. Keep it up, just a couple more times around. And then we're going to get right into our final savasana. You ready? Beautiful. Carefully release the feet down to the floor. Remember, if your back is at all still feeling even just a little unhappy, you can keep those knees bent and tuck them in towards each other. Or if it feels good for your body today, create a little extra space and stretching those hips. Wow, by extending those legs all the way down. Find what feels good with your hands. Maybe one hand on your heart, maybe one hand on your belly, maybe arms relaxed down by your side. Maybe a little extra stretch of the chest, arms extended all the way out. Final Savasana has begun here. We've got 5 minutes together. However, if you'd like to close out class on your own and stay here longer, you're welcome to. Class is not over yet though, so lay down on that back and take in this final savasana. It is not a throwaway posture. It is where we allow the yoga to really sink into our body, mind, and soul. And maybe you think that sounds hippy dippy, cheesy weirdo, because I know when I first started yoga, I did. Oof, the teacher would say, final savasana, and the minute she stopped talking, I would grab my stuff and like run out of the room. And then I would find that I was not relaxed for the rest of the day, especially after a more active class. Whew, I would sweat through my next 3 shirts. But when I changed my mental channel and I got myself to stay in this final savasana for 3 minutes and then 5 minutes. And then until I had to leave the room because they turned the lights back on, I promise this longer, relaxed savasana makes a difference. So, one last chance for us together today to scan your body from head to toe and notice where you can relax a little bit more. Where are you still feeling tension? Imagine inhaling and your breath finding that spot and exhaling and creating some release. Remember that if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. So if you've had your eyes open this whole class, I encourage you to close them for our final minute of Savasana together. Just tune into the quality and length of your breath. All right. If you're not feeling relaxed, stay here a little bit longer. Keep checking in with yourself every couple of breaths. Get ready to move off of the mat at your own pace. If you are feeling good and you want to close class out together, take your time, make your way to a seated position of your choice. When you get there, go ahead and bring your hands to heart center. Take a moment, tuck your chin to your chest, thumbs on sternum. Enjoy your heartbeat as you honor yourself. I want to thank you so much for coming today. I also want to remind you that this class is not going anywhere, but we do have live in-person classes starting on campus next week. So please check out PT Minder so you can register in advance as spaces are limited. You can fast jump fitness and find the PT Minder link for the Bedford and McLean locations. And I'm so excited for class to start again. I honestly was so excited. I cried about it this morning. So there's there's that. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that I've said or we did today, I know that you'll reach out. I can't wait to see some of you live in person on our mats next week. And I hope those of you who haven't enjoyed the streaming class will continue to do so. Till we are together again in whichever format, I know that you will think good thoughts, speak good words, eat good foods, do good deeds, and really, you're so worth taking the time to nourish yourself from the inside out. Till we meet again, the light within me honors, sees, and is thankful for the light within you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And let us say namaste.